for lack of words, but very, very fragile age, in the sense that they are at that stage where they want to mold the character that they are going to be for the rest of their lives. They want to mold the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they look. So from that age, they rely on mentorship. And that is why I totally support what Mrs. Buba said yesterday. Deliberate. You have to, because the thing is, they cannot find the adequate mentorship except it starts from the house. And it's very unfortunate if they don't see us as those that they will want to copy and emulate. And that means we must be deliberate with this. That is why it calls on us to be very deliberate in how we interact with them. As much as possible, I suggest we will be a step ahead of them in the information world. I have friends who will tell you that they cannot circumnavigate the social media world. And I said that's a danger. If you don't know the basics of the social media world, you have lost these kids. If you don't know how to conduct a simple meeting on Zoom or WhatsApp, or you're not on Twitter, because all the social media that my daughter is on, I am automatically on. And I watch what she says. As much as possible, I don't want to chaperone her, but she knows I'm there. And because she knows I'm watching her, she's deliberately cautious about not trying to hurt me in some statements she makes. And as much as possible, you are there because you're going to guide them, so that there are a lot of predators on social media. A lot. So your duty as a parent, a guardian, and a ward is to make sure that when these kids start social media, you are protecting, shielding them. You are going through what they are doing. You know what they are doing. You know the vote. So from yesterday, I realized that the mentorship starts with us and does not necessarily end with us, but the most important is that the mentorship starts with us, and we as individuals must make sure that we be the example we want to see in the teenagers. Thank you.
It is said in a very funny way sometimes, if you don't train your child well, street will help you train your child. I saw that somewhere and I heard someone actually say it. I didn't take it for granted, knowing full well that I've got a little one that is already emerging as a star. And someday someone says to me that it's your daughter we found being very recalcitrant somewhere. How would I react? Immediately it clicked and I said, that one no be me. That daughter has to be duly schooled. And I like the fact that, yes, you emphasized and then corroborated on the statement and the point Mrs. Patience Buba made. Be deliberate. And you have to find ways truly to circumvent that social media. If at all they must be on it, you have to find a way of making sure you let them know that besides the fun and the entertainment, there is also the commercial aspect of the social media. There's also the social relationship building structures on the social media. There's also the education part and a host of so much. So which means the social media can never be a platform for boredom or entirely an enclave for pornography. Mrs. Patience Buba, to do an addendum to all that, let's look at social media. He made mention of that particular fact. You've got boys, and it is, I don't have the statistics, but it shows to some extent that boys tend to be a bit difficult when it comes to nurturing, grooming, and training compared to girls. How would you argue that out using also the social media and its influence in this our generation Z era? Meanwhile, Mr. Onoviron, thank you very much for that piece.
Okay, good evening, everyone. How are we all doing today? Okay, the question, the part that says boys are more difficult. Sadly, I don't have a girl, so I can't really say, like, I can't really make the comparison. Maybe Mr. Noviran has both sex, so he can be able to make his comparisons, but I'm not privileged to have a girl child. They are all boys. Let me just go back to the basics for me. And the basics for me is being involved with them. Being involved with them covers every area of their lives, every aspect of their lives. So when I now want to be part of what they do on social media, it won't be strange to them because I'm already part of everything that has to do with them. Okay, there is no part of their lives that is not important to me. There is nothing about them that is insignificant.
I usually like to ask which type of food
Being
Ghana or
deliberate
Nigeria.
as every part
See
of
this
their
one,
lives,
this one
every
Cameroon.
aspect of their lives.
This one Cameroon, Igbo.
I am deliberate about what they do with friends, in school, in the neighborhood, in church. And then the phones that they have didn't just come to them like that. There was a plan to have a phone. There were conversations on why the phone should come, what you want to do. Before then, the usage of my own phone for their fathers, okay? And they get to share stuff with me. It's, for me, I'm smiling because it's actually a blessing for me because I'm so involved with them that they get to tell me everything. Even things that ordinarily people would feel that, we just get to talk about everything. So social media is not an exception. They all have their email accounts. I am a parent in the community. I give permissions for whatever they are downloading. Gmail would ask me for permission for every of their activity. They want to download any app, I have to give permission. Whatever they do, they change any setting, they do whatever, I know. We talked about it before we got them the accounts on their phones. And then it's funny that sometimes I could be like, I want to use your phone. They'll come to me, Mommy, I want to use your phone. We don't have boundaries when it comes to using each other's phones. Okay, so just be involved in what they do. You know, we sometimes are more of judges in their lives than their friends. You want to know, so you can sentence them, so you can pass judgment, so you can critique, so you can. You are not there because you want them to find a friend in you. You want to share in those moments with them. You want to know. You want them to feel free to tell you anything. So even when it gets to social media, if they already have the feeling that Mommy will want to judge, Daddy will want to sentence, Daddy will want to analyze this, Daddy will want to critique this, they would have the tendencies of keeping it away from you. But if they've found a friend in you, you can actually talk about everything. You know, words for my boys are more than any spanking or anything. We get to talk and I say, I think this is it. I think you fumbled here. I think this you did, and that, and that, and that, and that. So we correct, we teach, we counsel. You know, teenagers, it's just funny. What works, like Mr. Noviran said yesterday, knowing what applies at different levels, different ages is key. For teenagers, if you don't have communication, you are doomed. Because I wouldn't know where you would start. And so it's always about talking, about understanding, about communication. Let them know that you are just interested in their lives to be there for them, not because you want to police or you want to sanction, or you want to critique, or you want to, sometimes they just talk and I'm just listening. And then they're like, I'm not saying anything. And I'm like, I don't even know what to say. Sometimes they get answers from each other, not necessarily from me. So social media is not what we can say they shouldn't be part of, because believe me, if you say you won't expose them to it, they will sure get the exposure somehow, somewhere. Anyhow, being part of it, sharing in that community with them, making them know that you are just there to guide because you love them, because you want all to be well with them, because you understand these things. I think Mr. Noviran said a while ago that you cannot say you don't know, you don't want to know. You have to know. They will have to see you as someone that has solutions. So
it is
media.
It is quite very obvious that if we're to engage in this conversation of yesterday's topic, it is going to be an endless chat. And I apologize for interjecting Mrs. Patience Buba. We even crossed the benchmark of 720. However, brilliant submission from you and brilliant submission from Mr. Onoviro. If we were to just use the word deliberate and then speak about deliberate parenting, what it entails in this contemporary era, I know everyone will go ballistic, telling us personal experiences and then sharing how much literature you must have studied or read or must have been able to really deal with, on issues of addressing issues of parenting children, cutting across all spheres of life. However, while we are at it, social media consciousness in your everyday parenting is key, important, and very lovely. And also always try to remember your TV channels also. Some days I landed on something, God have mercy, while celebrating the channel, only for me to just stumble upon it myself. And I thought, now, wow, very quickly, without even waiting for anybody, I just tuned off, changed the channel. I got to the phone again, as usual. She's 7 months, but she knows how to navigate the YouTube as though it has. I had to download YouTube for kids, but this young lady told me off. No, Daddy, I don't want that one. I don't want that one. This is what I want. And she went to the YouTube for the general. And then she went, because I downloaded her pieces for her, the clips, the whatever she watches. I stumbled on this one that talks about same-sex marriage. And I thought to myself, there are liberties, but I don't think mine has her. I am her liberty. Any liberty she has comes from me. The time she's going to enjoy fully that liberty is going to be at 18, where my right stops and when I would establish to her that hers begins from there. But at this point, she needs to be traditionally groomed and adequately nurtured for the sake of posterity. So please, all parents, I am happy hearing all these feedbacks from you all. And it's quite an amazing thing that, yes, our number is increasing. So the email message is going on all across. We are not the speakers of the day, but sincerely, we've done so much just within the few minutes. Uncle Joe, Uncle Joe is supposed to come up soon, though our team for today should have been on oh my days, come on, please.
Bonding with your teenager.
Bond with your teenager. You know, it's ordinarily to be presented by Pastor Boma, but the challenges around him have actually not been addressed yet. But it's nothing to worry about. He's fine. He's doing very all right. We will very quickly invite Uncle Joe to take up this time, and then eventually in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, Uncle Joe, is 15 minutes okay, or we reduce it to 10 minutes, please?
It's okay. 15 is okay, sir.
In 15, we're grateful. We know we'll hear from you, and then we'll take Q&A And then we call it a day and then hope that we all will be very fine to be a part of the program tomorrow. And we sincerely apologize on behalf of Pastor Bama. Please, without taking much of your time, Uncle Joe, take the stage, please. And our dear friends, a mark of respect and welcome, please, a show of emoji, a clap of hand, turn on your microphone, say welcome or anything, and all that, please. Let's welcome Uncle Joe.
All right. Thank you very much. Amazing people. Sorry, I will not be using my video. I was about stepping out of the office and a few issues around.
Okay.
I can see everyone. Thank you so much. It's nice seeing you on. But I hope you're hearing me, please.
Clearly.
Am I clear?
Loud and clear.
All right. All right, Mr. Justin, you're doing a marvelous job. I think from the feedback we've gotten tonight, both from Mrs. Pat and Mr. Noverin, I think the job is actually done, or somewhat done. It's more like just putting a summary, doing a summary to that.
I agree.
Right, very quickly, we'll be looking at how to build good rapport with your teenager. I'm so happy the way, the direction we are going. Everybody is talking about being intentional. Being intentional. Whatever you do with your teenagers, your youth, your children, be intentional about it. Even in mentoring, be intentional about it. I loved Madam Pat's perspective and all that. And I wish to add briefly to that any experience you force a teenagers not to do, trust me, they will do it behind you. Any experience that you're insisting that they must not do without explanation, they will go behind you and do it. So with that said, youth and teenagers need to be empowered through guidance. We don't just leave them to roam about. Note that research has proven that a child's brain keeps developing even at a teenage age until they become adults. So their brain is not fully developed until they become adults. And then within this period, they need all the guidance we can give to them as parents, as mentors, and as coaches. That is why sometimes you see, you give instructions this way and you give another one, and you discover that the teenager is kind of looking confused because you are sending multi instructions to the brain. It's just like having a CPU. You have a computer, and then you are giving multi-tasks at the same time, just sending in without a split second for processing. Now, what is rapport? Rapport is actually a close and harmonious relationship in which the persons involved understand each other. Now, take note of the keyword relationship. Close and harmonious involved understand each other. So it is a close and harmonious relationship between you as parents and your children, between you as mentor and your mentees, between you as coach and your followers. There has to be that harmonious and close relationship. I was talking with a core member today. They came for CDS in my office, and we got talking about family life and all that. And he said he doesn't miss his dad. His dad is late. He doesn't miss his dad. I said, no, you're actually a man. I miss my dad. My dad was my paddy man. He was, in fact, there was no moment that we lost when he wasn't working that we're not together. I looked forward to every moment with him. In the evenings, no matter what I ate, I was sure that when he comes back, Daddy will say, Nna, have you eaten? I say, yes, Daddy, okay, come and take a little from my serving. It could be meat, it could be fish, it could be anything, but there was that close relationship. Now, this core member told me that his father was a terror to all of them in the house, from the mother to everybody, a terror. Can you imagine a father being a terror? He said it got to a point that when it is about time for the father to get back home, the mom will feign illness and go and lock up herself and cover herself with a blanket. Now, there was no harmonious relationship. You can imagine the old man passed on and the son doesn't have good memory about him. You live in their lives. My coach, Coach Wendy, will say, if you live in their life today, when you are in their life today, you live in their memory today. If you are in the lives of your children today, you live in their memory tomorrow. They keep talking about that. When I'm with my siblings, there's no moment that passes without us saying, if daddy was around, dad would have done this, dad would have. Sometimes my mom will say, it's enough, now me, I'm here. You must still always be your dad. Yes, we understand. So you have to, he was in our lives every part of the way. Was even when I was in secondary school, there were no phones then. But he made sure that every visiting day, if my mom was coming, he would always come. So build a close and harmonious relationship with your children. I'm not saying that you should indulge your children. I'm not saying that you should make them entitled, but have a relationship with them. Now, how do you build that? Number one, through active listening. Through active listening. When you're talking with your children, when you're talking with teenagers, don't listen to be heard, but to hear what is said and not said. Listen without any form of distraction. I'll take that again. When you are talking with teenagers or with children, please listen to be heard. Don't listen to be heard, but to hear what is said and not said. Listen without any form of distraction. You know, teenagers have a way of, they multitask. They do a whole lot of things at the same time. And you're talking with them and it looks like they are not actually picking what you're saying. You'll be surprised when you ask questions. Or a teenager comes up to you and either as a coach or a mentor or a dad, uncle, aunt, about what a challenge he or she is going through, and you're like, okay, yeah, listen, yeah, I'm listening. Go on. You're fiddling with your phone. You're trying to touch something else. Teenagers are smart. At that moment, the tendency to switch topic is there. The teenager might just switch to something else, and when you ask, no, uncle, that's actually what I wanted to discuss with you. Some 2 months ago, I remember when my preteen was at home, I told her, in my absence, you are going to be leading the family altar. You are the one that will be leading the family altar in my absence. So I was like, but Daddy, I'm just a small child. I said, no, you are growing up. I started being a Sunday school teacher at your age. In fact, before your age, she was laughing. I was like, okay, how do we do it? I started coaching her through our process of running a service in church, opening prayer, praise and worship, prayers. I told her that week, you have to take all the prayers. Okay, allocate prayers to your siblings, allocate to me and your mommy, and please search out scriptures relevant to the topics you want us to pray about. That was where the challenge came. So she needed a little guidance, and then I guided her. She wrote out some prayer points about 5 or 6, and then I helped her search out scriptures. When we were doing it, it was like she wasn't really interested in it. Daddy, you're listening. Do you know that 3 weeks after that, I traveled back to my station on a Saturday morning when I didn't go to see them? She called me on the family line and said, Daddy, you want to pray, stay on the line. And I stayed on the line, and all that we had discussed, she has started practicing it. So please, don't listen to be heard, but to hear what is said and not said. When we talk about something that is not said, it's talking about, we mean body language. You might be talking with a teenager and you're maintaining eye contact, and suddenly that teenager drops the eyelid or shakes the head or starts fidgeting, you know that at that point there is something the teenager is trying to pass on, or someone else is available during that discussion. The teenager doesn't want that person to be a part of what she's saying or he is saying. So you take note of what is not said. So it is not everything that they say. Listen to their body language. We call it non-verbal communication. So, but with active listening comes open questioning. You can never influence a child you don't understand. It is only when you understand them that you're able to influence them. Some of my mentees, when we talk, it takes me on Friday night when I got home, someone called me and we were on call from 11 p.m. till about 2 a.m. His airtime will finish and then he'll come back. And I wasn't listening only to what was being said. Though over the phone, I was speaking his voice cue and somewhat speaking what he was going through. And at the end of the day, when I started talking to him, discussing some issues, he told me that he noticed that there was a particular sentence I used that got him, that he doesn't know how I got to know that he was going through that. It was through active listening. If I wasn't listening that well, I wouldn't have gotten that. Now, the next thing to do, how to build a good rapport, is to mirror them. When rapport has grown so much with you and your youths and your teenagers, it becomes so much that you start acting and seeing things in the same light. I can tell you the teenagers I handled in church and at TON, Teenagers Outreach Ministry, what we could be reasoning, like if I just come in and I say, hey, who has done this? And they respond, we have our chants. Once I use one chant and all that, there are teenagers I know that ordinarily they don't come up like others. There are those I know that they are always on the high. So, but we have related so well, we have bonded so well, we have built such a rapport that we now begin to behave like them. Somebody was asking me in one section that will I sag my trouser and wear bling blings and all that to be like them, to mirror them? No, I don't have to do the things that I consider unconventional. I do the right things. If there are things they are doing that are wrong, we find a way to make it a teaching point without shaming them, without yelling at them, without looking down on them. I dress, when I go to teach, except for few Sundays that I wear native, most times I wear maybe a long sleeve shirt, a chinos trouser, because we are not allowed to wear jean trousers to teach teenagers. I wear my shoe, I tuck in my long sleeve shirt, and I fold the sleeve. Folding the sleeve alone towards my elbow brings me in tune with them. They already see me as one of them. I remember some aunties that used to come with gele, taitu, rapa, buba and all that, and the teenagers are already distracted when they see you. So when you want to build rapport with them, you need to mirror them. You need to mirror them and reason like them. You see me talking with teenagers. When I'm coming to church from the church gate, hey, I call them by name. We chop knuckle, we hit high five and stuff like that. It makes them relax. It makes them come out to you. It makes them know that this is one of them. So intentionality, mirroring them, like I also said yesterday, makes you to be relatable with them. We have different types of teenagers, just so you know when you are relating with them. Two kids of the same parents might not behave the same way. They might have different mannerisms. We have the visual, the kinesthetics, the auditory tonal, and the auditory digital. I'll take that again. Visual, that's visual teenagers. kinesthetics teenagers, the auditory tonal teenagers, and the auditory digital teenagers. Okay, the visual teenagers, they are moved by sight. They understand, once they see, they already understand, okay, uncle is doing this, okay, this is what uncle is doing. They interpret it properly to their understanding. The kinesthetics understand through feelings and emotions. They take decisions based on feelings. They are a bundle of emotions. They come out through emotions. And if you understand, if your teenager is a kinesthetic teenager, especially female teenagers, you have to guard against predators, because kinesthetics teenagers who are female are prone to being prey to men who are predators because of their emotions. Then we have the auditory tonal. These ones, they want to hear. They want to hear. They're asking you, okay, uncle, you said, explain further. Then the auditory digital, they learn by facts. In fact, my preteen is an auditory digital. They will argue out facts. Okay, uncle, you said this. Why not this? Okay, can you give me a reason why it is this? You don't shout the teenager down. You don't look down on him. You don't feel like, what is wrong with you? What do you know? Some teachers will say ITK. No, the teenager is actually expressing his personality. So you know how to flow with them. So you need to understand yourself as a coach, and then you know how to relate with these teenagers at these 4 levels. So when you are in touch with them, you already know that these teenagers are likely to exhibit these 4 levels. And if you understand these 4 levels, it will help you to meet them at their perspectives and to create rapport very fast. Then you'll be in accord with them and speak their language. So I think I'll just pause here. I think I've taken more than the time. I heard a moderator make some move before he says I should end it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for our presenter, Uncle Joe. Sorry, I'm on Zoom. Sorry, my little one just interjected. All right, then.
It's okay.
I am laughing, but calm down, please. Just carry on. All right, I'm sorry, please. I cannot move far away from her, and then I would instigate more drama. So I have to stick around. So in case you hear her on the background, please, just bear with me. Uncle Joe, thank you very much. Well done. A good piece put together. Please, to all other parents in the house, I can see Pastor Boma Inigbamado. We cannot really get him to be a part of us fully. Onwunze Faithlin, Mrs. Stella Oboko, Mr. Onovira, and Mrs. Chiagozie Onya. And then we have Abosede Anipole. And we equally have, Baraza Luka. Oh, that's myself. I'm from India. All right, please, a show of love. A sign. Use any emoji. Go ahead. Turn on your microphone and just say, well done. And let's commend him. This is the theme he spoke about, building good rapport with your teenagers. And you and I know that before we got to this point, as at yesterday, we had the speaker speak about relating with the kids. And then Mr. Onoviro added about knowing the ages to train the children and to Mrs. Patient spoke about being deliberate and expatiating further to enlighten us using 4 key important points: the visual perspective, the kinesthetic structure, the auditory, and then the auditory digital. These are 4 key features you can use or models you can use to school or mentor or groom our kids. Please, if your microphone is on, I think we have explored the seconds already, so you can just go ahead and send emoji. Well done to him and all that. Sincerely, thank you very much for exploration, Uncle Joe. Uko. I want to put all your names together, and I do not know why I always get that away. Mm. But again, it's because you're a fun-filled personality, And then it is again quotes like, we have to build rapport with them in order to know them. We have to also mirror. We have to be in their shoes in order to understand what they really want to know from all of us. Not to bore all of us with so much noise and the blabbing of what you have heard or already know. I would indulge all of us to take a time now to prepare our questions. I should have told you earlier, but I apologize sincerely. That we have the next 5 minutes by 1958, that's 7:58, that's to 8, I would stop the question and answer session. So please, 3 questions from our speakers. I would do this favor to Mrs. Stella Oboko. It's actually not a favor. You had a question to ask yesterday, but you didn't have the turn. It wasn't your turn because we had to stop on 3 persons. Please, you can take the microphone. Let's do you this honors to have you be the first to ask a question. And any question you're going to ask, whether of yesterday or today, it's still going to relate as long as it concerns the general theme. Thank you. Please, over to you, Mrs. Stella Oboko. And please, 2 other persons can indicate if at all they have any question to ask. Thank you. Mrs. Stella Oboko. Okay. I think she is quiet. Oh, okay. She's back on.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, clearly. Thank you for
Can you
accepting.
hear me?
Please, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, the network threw me out and I just came in. So I just came in and I had my name. I don't know what you were asking me to do. Sorry about that.
You're a star. You're a star.
I was. Hello?
Please go on with your question. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. We
Okay,
can
no,
all
I don't
hear
have
you.
a
I suppose
question.
so.
Okay, no, I don't have a question. I actually
Oh,
learned
okay.
something new, digital auditory. I never had that before. Yeah.
Okay, the digital auditory, you've never heard of it. Do you want to ask a
No,
question?
honestly, though this is what I don't have a question. No, I don't have a question. I just came in and I had you call my name.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have a question.
That's very fine. It's all okay. And we're glad you're able to join us all. Please, any other person? Let me do a little name calling, a familiarization kind of thing. Mrs. Abosede Anipole. Or should I call on Mrs. Chia Gozie Onya? Wow. This silence will connote that we all have understood the theme of today. Uncle Joe, you have done a great job. That you are a wonderful teacher that you are. When you get silence in teaching, when you get silence and in class after asking a question and all your students don't indicate that they are wondering whatever it is you said means, it implies you're a wonderful teacher. You're down to earth, that you can speak to 5-year-old, and you're so very advanced that that an 85-year-old will get what you're saying. Amazingly, none of us 5 yet. Neither is any of us 5-year-old. So we appreciate what you've said. And while we're having a conversation, you still reiterated what you said in our previous conference where you and Pastor Boma spoke and said, don't be forcefully involved in their matters. In as much as you want to be, don't be in their faces. Just be involved. It makes them feel very confident that you are not policing them. Another term Mrs. Patience used, and in a subtle way also, Mr. Onovira also employed that. And I want to say that, yes, it's quite true. And Pastor Boma had a way of putting it. I can't recall that quote clearly, but he says, try to be an influence in their lives, not a police. Yes, I think he used the same word, police. Don't police them around. So in building a bond with them, in building a relationship, and I think it cuts across all ages, gender, and class. You can't come at someone you meet by the roadside for the first time, you're inquiring about a thing, and you just go, hey, where this house be? You don't ever see this address. No. First of all, you will not have the solution to that problem. Or because you run into a circumstance, and then because you're mad at it, probably you are one of those kinesthetic being who acts based on feelings and emotions, and then you're already icked and angered, irritated and irate, and you're like, hey, no, they do like that. Hey, no, that you want to address a problem. You don't get on your tough side or on your emotional side, whether subtle emotions or aggressive emotions or intimidating emotions, maybe because you want to build a defense around you. You will not build a relationship. But in everything, it is said that flattery gets you places, but it might not keep you. However, if it gets you there, you should learn the antics of being there. So I think in order to be able to build a relationship, even if you cannot pierce through the person to get them to understand what you're trying to say, you go ahead and try to pamper them first, flatter the person, encourage the person, and let the person know that, yes, no matter the wrongs or no matter the circumstance, the person, he or she, can still be better. And I think from that way, you will get to know, or whichever means you feel okay and approachable, to see that you build a bond first and then you address problems. So I would say to all of us, that was a way of just doing a recap. I noticed our brother Kalu Uko is also not in the house. I would have loved to call on him to do a recap. And today, again, we had our schedule slightly distorted because of certain situations. But I bet tomorrow will be different. And you know what? I will just go ahead with the announcement that, yes, Uncle Joe's book, I gave you guys a sneak peek yesterday. That book is no more on the fire. It is ready to be served. It is ready to be served. Niger people say now hot. That book, once that one hot, you would eventually find it on virtually all the digital platforms where books are sold. I trust that once it's out, just get your Naira ready. Those ones you've spared for those outings and those moments of enjoyment, to pick a piece, please, a soft copy for yourself. And if we're able to get the hard ones also out and ready, we'll go for autographs for those of us very close to him and all that. And then not to also forget that tomorrow we would be exploring. We would have loved to say we call on our brother to speak to us tomorrow, but the inability to really pin him down today, and it wouldn't be fair to us to take the turn of another speaker, especially the speaker for tomorrow, and then ask him to postpone, being that the days have all been planned out. So we will be expecting Pastor Umoru to come speak with us tomorrow. Speak to us, tomorrow. And he'll be speaking on understanding the culture of teenagehood. Understanding the culture of teenagehood. My dear friends, if I say that this our comfort on parenting in a Gen Z era is not packed full, I am not doing us justice. Dear Five, while we prepare to get our nights be a cozy one, I really do not know if anyone has an observation, a contribution, or what you would love to share with us. We would give you just a minute if it takes that long. And if no, then I would have to wrap up here and then bid all of us a lovely night. Please, in 5 seconds, if we have anyone, please indicate by show of hand so that we get it out of the way. Or our host, Uncle Joe, do you have any other thing you want to add to how much I have said?
No, it's okay, sir. It's okay, sir. Just to say that I appreciate everyone that turned out today. Tomorrow is going to be better than today. So please try as much as possible, spread out our invite, send our links to everyone. I'm sure Pastor Boma will still be available tomorrow. We would have him and Pastor Emma Umoru talk with us. You can imagine the fire that will be coming on when you have two great men of God speaking on the same platform. So get ready, plan and prepare to be there. Thank you so much and God bless you.
Amen. Wonderful. You have always gone ahead of me 10 miles ahead. I do not know why. I'll have to tie your legs to a road safety sign on the highway. All right, then. I was actually going to say thank you to all of us for participating, especially the speaker, Uncle Joe. Thank you very much for doing a wonderful job. And to Pastor Bama, I trust that, yes, eventually you would submerge all of that held you bound back. It's nothing, but I know you would deal with it adequately because you're not a capable man. All right, then. Oh, I can hear him laugh. He's back on board. All right, Pastor Boma. We will be glad to have you.
I'm here.
We trust families doing well. All right, then, all of you in the house, you can hear he's back on board. Though time is out, we will catch up with him tomorrow. And Pastor Umo.
I'm so sorry.
It's all okay. It's all okay. It's understandable. Sorry, but it's all okay. It's understandable. We're very grateful. We'll be there with you tomorrow. So to all of us, please, you're urged. Tell your neighbor to tell his neighbor to tell his neighbor to follow the link. And then we will do well to enjoy this meeting. And I trust you all learned one or two things. Please go to the group in the house and then leave a quote and just get to hammer it again and share with those who were not able to participate. Also remember that this was recorded live and eventually it will be shared on our YouTube handle. So please, if you didn't get it, please go back there, download or do whatever it is, share the link also and then get it viral so that we also get to enlighten and save souls. Don't imagine that this thing we're sharing today is known by everyone. My dear people, you will be surprised to know about the level of ignorance we're wallowing in this country and probably across the world. Our appreciation to all of us for being a part of it. Thank you for making it quite a great one. We know tomorrow will be awesome. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Love your family so very well. Tell them we love them too. Good night. Good night, Mrs. Excellence Parenta. Good night, Mrs. Abosi.
Good night, everyone.
Mr. Onobra. Good night, Mrs.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Please, for those
Good
of us
night.
who are not in our WhatsApp group, please try and join up.
Divine sir. That's fine. I'm network outside.
Good night. Yes, darling. Okay. Your body. Wow, your body. Left.
Mrs. Excellence, I see your hand up.